In today's Gospel, Jesus invites his disciples to remain watchful, to not be carried away by the worries of life or by the spiritual drowsiness that numbs the soul. He says, "Be careful not to let your hearts be weighed down with dissipation, drunkenness, and the anxieties of life, so that day will not close on you unexpectedly. Be alert and pray at all times." This message, spoken more than 2,000 years ago, remains profoundly relevant today. In a world filled with distractions, inner vigilance has become a lost art. Jesus reminds us that the heart can fall asleep even while we are physically awake, that we may appear alive yet be disconnected from the deeper meaning of existence. The invitation to pray at all times is not limited to repeating words, but to maintaining an attitude of awareness, openness, and presence before God. From the Christian perspective, this call to vigilance is an expression of love. Whoever loves, waits. Whoever loves remains attentive to the encounter. Constant prayer is not a burden but a way of keeping the relationship with the Creator alive. It is a silent dialogue that weaves through the hours of the day and the concerns of daily life. In the midst of the world's noise, the Christian is invited to find spaces of silence where he or she can listen to the voice of God within. Jesus does not warn out of fear but out of tenderness. He knows that the human heart tends to scatter, and that when we lose our connection with the divine, life becomes empty of meaning. Vigilance, therefore, is not an anxious attitude but a loving one. It is staying awake so that we do not miss the arrival of the kingdom, which is already manifesting quietly in every moment. In Islam, this same idea of spiritual wakefulness finds deep resonance in the concept of taqwa, the constant awareness of God's presence. The Muslim believer is called to live each moment with attentiveness and reverence toward Allah, guarding the heart from falling asleep through excess or negligence. The Quran reminds, "Do not follow your desires for they will lead you away from the path of God." Inner vigilance, therefore, is a form of purity. The 5 daily prayers are not merely ritual obligations but a sacred discipline that keeps the soul awake. Each prayer is a reminder that life is brief and that every act, word, and thought has consequences. In Islam, to pray at all times means to live with intention, with purpose, and with humility before the mystery of creation. Thus, the believer learns to resist the spiritual sleep brought on by routine and material concern, cultivating a living awareness that connects him with the eternal. In Hinduism, Jesus' teaching on vigilance is closely related to the control of the mind and the senses, central elements of the spiritual path. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that the wise person is one who governs his thoughts, who does not let himself be driven by worldly desires or the restlessness of the ego. The mind, if left untrained, becomes the soul's greatest enemy. To be watchful, then, means to observe oneself, to recognize the impulses that pull us away from inner peace and to redirect them toward the divine. In the practices of yoga and meditation, Hinduism teaches the art of remaining centered in the present, breathing consciously, and treating every action as an offering. To live in constant prayer does not mean to repeat mantras mechanically, but to transform one's entire life into a sacred act. Work, family, food, rest, everything can become prayer when done with love, attention, and devotion. Buddhism too invites us to remain awake. In fact, the word Buddha literally means the awakened one. Jesus' teaching on vigilance finds a direct echo here, to not let the mind fall into distraction or unconsciousness. The Buddha taught that the cause of suffering is desire and attachment, which cloud the mind and keep us in confusion. Practicing mindfulness is the Buddhist form of prayer, a way of being present, aware of the body, the breath, and the mind. As in the Gospel, it is about avoiding the dullness that comes from excess, indulgence, or constant worry. Every conscious breath is a silent prayer. To be attentive at all times is to live awake to reality, to see things as they truly are, without illusion or judgment. From this perspective, Buddhism and Christianity meet in the same yearning, to not fall asleep spiritually, to not let life pass by without truly living it. In Taoist tradition, the teaching on vigilance appears as an invitation to live in harmony with the natural flow of the universe, the Tao. The sage does not allow himself to be carried away by excess or distraction, but walks in balance, aware of every step. The Tao Te Ching says, "The sage watches without looking, listens without hearing, acts without striving." This paradox points to a deep kind of vigilance, not tense or anxious but gentle and constant. To be awake is to flow with life without losing inner calm. In Confucianism, vigilance is expressed through virtue and self-discipline. Confucius said that the noble person examines himself 3 times a day, to see if he has been sincere with his friends, faithful to his promises, and just in his actions. This constant self-reflection is a form of practical prayer. a way of keeping moral awareness awake and avoiding self-deception. Both Taoism and Confucianism teach that inner vigilance is not about fearing punishment, but about seeking harmony, nurturing the purity of the heart in order to live with integrity and serenity. When we observe these 5 perspectives, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, and Taoist/Confucian, we discover an invisible thread that unites them. All point to the same truth: the need to awaken, to not be overcome by distraction, excess, and routine. In a world saturated with noise, the call to vigilance is a call to inner silence. To pray at all times, as Jesus says, does not mean to repeat empty formulas, but to live attentively, with a heart open to the transcendent. It is learning to see the divine in the ordinary, to discover that every breath, every gesture, and every thought can become a doorway to the eternal. Despite their differences, all religions converge in this essential wisdom: that true prayer is not confined to temples or words, but is embodied in an awakened life, attentive, compassionate, and full of purpose. Today more than ever, we need this loving vigilance, not to fear the future but to live with presence and gratitude. If we manage to awaken even for a single moment, we will understand that the kingdom of God, paradise, nirvana, or the Tao are not distant places, but realities revealed here and now, in the heart that remains conscious, humble, and open. May this day be an opportunity to stay attentive, to breathe calmly, to pray without ceasing, not with words but with a life that gradually becomes a living prayer.